because then you have other people who are like Harden who are going to say the same thing. Well, I think so and so. My GM is screwing me. My da 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 da. It's going to get ridiculous. So doing the due diligence. Hopefully, 100K will put a dent in their pockets. But
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, lounging on the deck, is my captain for life, Will Cotton. Will, how you doing, man?
change of scenery, same takes.
One day I'm gonna get out on my deck, but we're having people work on it. But I'm gonna tape some outside shows. But on today's Wind Up Wednesday episode, we're gonna talk some James Harden follow up. We're gonna talk some FIBA Basketball World Cup. I don't know if we're gonna win the gold. We're gonna talk about rise NBA coaching salaries, and I'm glad I got Cotton Man on for the conversation about Magic versus Steph that everybody's having and the WNBA week in review. But first, James Harden follow up. So the NBA PA intends to file a grievance disputing the NBA's $100,000 fine on James Harden over public comments he made about Daryl Morey. Uh, Will, you saw what he said. You followed the story a little bit. Should the Players Association even do this, or are they just doing their due diligence just so it doesn't become a habit? What do you think?
Well, it's a joke. Even to find this guy 100K. I mean, that guy spends 100K at Burger King. Like that guy, and it's unprofessional. I mean, everybody's saying, but I think they're doing due diligence. Can't talk about the brand, can't talk about your boss like that crazy. Well, because repercussions are going to be a lot more dangerous, I say. You can't because then you have other people who are like Harden who are going to say the same thing. Well, I think so and so. My GM is screwing me. My da 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 da. It's going to get ridiculous. So doing the due diligence. Hopefully, 100K will put a dent in their pockets. But unfortunate.
Well, remember last month, uh, Dame Lillard's agent, Aaron Goodwin, got the private and public note about saying things about trades and withholding services. So again, Harden did opt into his $35.6 million contract with the Sixers, which takes us to Tyrese Maxey. He hasn't even started his fourth season, but he's already watched two superstar teammates make these trade demands. You've got the Ben Simmons situation. Now you have the Harden situation. And here's what makes it crazy. He says it's crazy to say this, but it's not our first rodeo. It's funny to say, but that's life. James is his own individual and he'll be able to do whatever he pleases. I'm preparing right now to play with him or without him. I love James. If he decided he's going to come back, there's nobody in his organization will be upset about that. So I say to you, that's your young player and he's not phased. You as a team captain, is this phase in the Sixers locker room, or the only person you got to worry about is Embiid? Talk to.
I think right now it's just Embiid. I think Maxi has the confidence that's crazy right now. Um, I think he's seen the age of James Harden. I think he's seen the future. He's doing the right thing. He's saying the right words. I mean, he's a company man, obviously, but he's saying the right things. I mean, he's showing a lot of maturity, which is great. You know, if he can somehow save this Sixers, I guess we'll call it era. Because remember, we trust in the process, and the process seems to be going downhill. So, I guess we'll keep trusting the process. But he's a great kid. Great word, great comment from him. I would have him love him on my team, but it's unfortunate that he has to make those comments about your teammate because at the end of the day, you are like kind of friends, at some point,
You
but it
spend
is
a lot of
business.
time together. You
Oh yeah,
spend an
yeah.
inordinate amount of time together. My thoughts on Maxi's comments, and I'm sure you'll smile. This is about TNT for him. It's about time and it's about touches. So when he was
Mm-hmm.
a reserve as a rookie, he didn't get as many minutes as he got after the Simmons situation. So he went from 8 points to 17 and a half points a game with Ben Simmons out. So once Harden was acquired, he handed over the role as primary ball handler. So if Harden's not there, yeah, I might be the primary ball handler again. My averages go up, my pockets go up. So,
Hmm.
but this is a welcome to the modern NBA, Will, because almost every team has experienced some type of foolishness or shenanigans, which takes us to Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Hmm.
Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo said he does not plan to sign a contract extension when he becomes eligible next month because he's not trusting what Milwaukee's doing. The Bucks can offer Giannis a 3-year, $173 million deal beginning September 22nd, but he's not signing yet. You know, there was a coaching change, there's some personnel situations. What would you advise Giannis to do right now?
Just kind of see what's going on. Do the same thing he's saying. I was kind of surprised. They brought back Middleton, they brought back Holiday, you know, and it wasn't enough to me. If I was Giannis, I would say, okay, I'm glad you got my guys back, but there's some other guys that I need to win a championship. He doesn't have enough firepower, and I don't think Milwaukee is going into. I mean, I think Milwaukee is doing a smart thing, which is building a team around him. I don't think they're looking for a skill player to be around him. But he's doing the right thing. I mean, the kid's going to get paid regardless. Like, Giannis is stamped. He's MVP, overtime, like 3 times, like 2 or 3 times or something like that, something crazy. A champion. It's really up to him. And if Milwaukee is not going to build a team around him, then the smart thing for him is to roll out. Now, I'll keep it 100. I'm sure he's married, so I'm sure I'm sure the wife is let's go live in LA. I can't live in Milwaukee. There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that, but
Okay.
he's a smart kid. I think he's going to make the right decision.
All right. FIBA World Cup news. So the FIBA Basketball World Cup is underway. U.S. is playing one of the favorites. Anthony Edwards is quickly establishing himself as a go-to player. So let's give you some World Cup notes. FIBA has a softer but bouncier basketball that frustrates a lot of NBA players. So you got guys like Paolo Banchero holding the ball, spending more time with it, similar to what you guys used to do in high school, carrying the football with you all day so he can be more comfortable with it. The ball has been bothering a lot of guys. Steve Kerr is clearly a fan of Banchero. He's the backup center. Tyrese Halliburton and Austin Reeves have some great chemistry. But I will say that the gold medal is not a guarantee. I've watched them play, got some pause. They're kind of thin up front. Any thoughts on the U.S. quest for FIBA gold?
I agree, Coach. I don't see a gold-winning team, to be honest with you. But the good thing is, I think we have a team who likes each other. I think there's a lot of time for them to gel and grow as players. So it's not to say that they can't do it. I think they're very raw right now, and I think as they continue to grow, maybe those kind of aspirations will you know come fruition, I should say. But right now they're still raw. I don't think they got it. I think there's other teams that are a little bit more refined, especially with the FIBA rules. Spain obviously, Canada, looking really good. France, I mean, shit. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I'm sorry,
That's
France.
okay. Mike
Look at
did
I was using my French. Excuse my French while talking about the French.
it.
But there's some teams. There's some teams, and notably, France is huge. And B, you got what's his name from that used to be in Minnesota, the big
Rudy?
man for
No.
French.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Rudy.
yep,
Rudy
Gobert, yep,
Gobert.
and they got Victor. So they got some
Victor's
length,
not
man.
playing. Victor's not
He,
playing.
well,
Victor's
he'll
not
play.
playing.
He'll play in the Olympics. He'll play in
He'll
the
play in the
Olympics.
Olympics.
Yeah, he'll play in the Olympics. But there's going
Uh,
to be some real teams. So as long as they gel and they can, stay true to their identity, I think they'll be fine. But like you said, Coach, I don't see a gold team right now. Right now, but they're still early.
so when we get back, we're going to talk NBA coaching salaries, and they're on the rise too. We'll be right back on the Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, we're going to talk NBA coaching salaries. So between Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra and Ty Lue, there are a lot of NBA titles and a lot of finals appearances. Gonzaga's Mark Few was on the staff. But when it comes to getting paid, NBA coaching salaries are not where everybody wants them to be, but that might be changing. Kerr's going into the final year of his deal, as is Spoelstra. Lou has 2 years left on his deal, and we've got guys like Monty Williams getting contracts for 6 years, $78.5 million. And, Pop's going to get his money. And he signed a 5-year extension. So, Will, what are your thoughts about NBA coaches hanging around the $8 million range? Any thoughts on that?
GTB, get the bag.
Get the
that is number one. It's ironic. I think the first time we've seen a lot list of coaches who have success, sometimes winning the finals or sometimes even making it to the finals, and they're being fired, for whatever reason. Obviously Monty Williams, Budenholzer, Nick Nurse, these are guys who have been to the finals and they get let go, 2-3 years later. So I say if the job is going to be a little more scrutiny, if there's going to be more scrutiny about it, and obviously it's not as safe. Obviously, unless you don't win chips, then you're open to be fired. Get the bag, get paid, because next year you may not be there. Even if you're making the right decisions, you may not be there. So get paid, and that's what coaches want, a little bit more understanding and safe and guarantee for their money. So get the bag.
All right. So now this past week, maybe even the last 2 weeks, there has been a lot of national media debate comparing Magic Johnson and Steph Curry. I think Steph was on Gilbert Arenas' podcast and said some things in terms of it's him and Magic in the point guard conversation. I know Stephen A. Smith backed up Curry's opinion, and then he got a text from Michael Jordan. So let's actually have the conversation in a way I think we should have it. Jordan said, and I am going to paraphrase it, although the greatest of anything is always a debate, I beg to differ on the greatest point guard of all time. Magic Johnson is easily the best point guard of all time. Steph Curry is very close, but not in front of Magic. Steph is the best shooter, but you got to talk about what a point guard is. So let's talk about what a point guard is. The NBA is probably the only sport where you're chasing ghosts, where everybody talks about yesterday, where other sports talk about today. Although Pele just died recently, they're talking about Messi and nobody's fighting it. But NBA people often talk about yesterday. So let's talk about it. All right. As for the greatest point guard of all time, both Curry and Johnson have strong cases. Jordan said that you must define point guard to really have a serious debate. And if you define point guard as a primarily passing role, Magic Johnson excels where Curry does not. When Magic retired for the first time in 91, and I never think about anything after that because that's when Magic was Magic, he was the all-time assist leader with close to 10,000 assists, and there was no reason to think he wasn't going to hit that number. His 11.2 assists per game still rank as an NBA record, and that's just a regular season. He also dished out 2,300 assists in the postseason, 300 more than LeBron, who's been in the playoffs for like 20 years. Okay. Curry, by comparison, has got like 5,700 assists, which ranks 45 in NBA history, and he's only averaged over 8 assists once in his 14 seasons. In terms of MVPs and championships, Magic has 3 MVP awards. Curry has 2. 3 finals MVP awards to Curry's 1. 5 NBA championships to Curry's 4. And Magic's 12 seasons before he was forced to retire. I don't do anything after 91 with Magic. That's me. His Lakers teams never missed the playoffs and reached the NBA finals 9 times in 12 years. Okay, let me say that again, Will, just in case people in the back. Magic's teams made the finals 9 times in 12 years. But that doesn't mean we don't love Steph. So Steph is 35 and he's still active and has a lot of times to move up the NBA statistical category, and he runs the 3-point category, and good luck catching. He scores better than Magic. Nobody's arguing that. And he's a generational talent, and people want to pattern their game after him. That's impact. Okay, that's impact. Just like a generation before with the big guards following Magic, who followed Oscar Robertson. There's a generation of people. I'm in a middle school now, man. Everybody's shooting from half court. Okay,
that's
Steph Curry.
Pull up.
Okay,
as soon as I get in the gym, pull up.
But Will, remember the question. Who's the greatest point guard? And again, Jordan defined point guard as a primary passing position. What say you, sir?
I have to agree with you, Coach. Magic Johnson is still the greatest point guard. I'm from the era where point guards were point guards. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from Steph Curry. I think he's a great, great generational talent. I mean, the guy, unbelievable. But just I think you said it. You have kids trying to play like Steph Curry. You can't play like Magic Johnson. You can't be 6'9", flying down the court, passing, doing all the things he's doing. And remember, he played 5 positions.
Yes, he did.
He had the ability to do that. I mean, we're talking about versatility, being the point guard. I mean, point center, point forward. There's just things that, it's crazy because I love to say, another great LeBron James is more like Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
People say Jordan and stuff like that. And I don't really understand, but Jordan, I mean, Magic, man, he changes the game, man. I mean, the dude, he unbelievable. And I'm not even from his era. By the time I was old, Magic was old by the time I could watch basketball. So it's just, both are great, great talents. A blessed to watch both of them play. But yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Jordan and say, Magic is still the number 1 point guard based on the criteria of being a point guard.
So again, this is ATQ. Answer the question, who's the greatest point guard? In our opinion at the OCP, it is Magic based upon the position itself. But again, Steph is a generational talent. And just like Magic in the previous generation inspired LeBron and those cats to be a guy that can get the rebound and initiate the break, Steph has totally changed how basketball is played. And I watch a lot of bad basketball now because of Steph. So thank you, Steph. And we'll be right back on the Hot Coaches Podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the At Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Let's get with the WNBA. So the Aces visited the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris shouted out the Aces, talked about their greatness. But I got a question. Where was Joe? Well, Joe Biden and his wife Jill was supposed to host the Aces, but the assignment went to Harris after Biden's extended his family vacation in Lake Tahoe. So again, thank you, Kamala Harris, for shouting out the Aces and everything with that. But come on, Joe, you gotta be out there in the White House. If Georgia's coming, you ain't leaving.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about going to the White House for that visit, though, Will?
They should have changed it. They should have rescheduled it.
Well, the Aces played the Mystics the next night.
Yeah, I was.
Like
and
that.
I was catching that. But I mean, it's just like it's optics. I'll say that it's optics. It's people who see like, oh, well, Biden is not. He's not going to be there. He'll be there when like an NBA team will be there when the champion's there, but WNBA is not there. And I'm just like, man, like,
and it wasn't national security; it was his vacation. So
yeah, I get it, and I get it. It's a bad look,
vacation.
But man, look, they got to go to the White House. They got to eat some good food. They were honored, which is great. And knowing the kind of guy Joe is, like Joe Biden, he's going to do something cool with him. He's going to say, "Hey, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Here's this to you. We love you." He's a good guy, so I think he's going to kind of do this thing. But I think it's good. But yeah, it's optics, so it looks bad.
Okay. All right, WNBA standings. They're always grouped on the OCP, so the Aces are 1 and the Liberty are 2. The Aces are taking smells, but they're built to last. The Connecticut Suns are 3. Again, the Penn State of the WNBA trying to break through. And then grouped 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, fighting for that playoff spot. The Dallas Wings, the Minnesota Lynx, the Atlanta Dream, the Washington Mystics. We got to get Della Don healthy. And the LA Sparks are still holding on. Group from 9 to 12. Again, don't fight to get in the playoffs. Get some of the talent. The Chicago Sky, the Seattle Storm, the Phoenix Mercury, and the Indiana Fever. Fans, the WNBA playoffs begin September 13th. With 8 teams qualifying for the postseason, and it's a first round best of 3, so we're almost there. Games of the week, Friday, September 1st, the Sun versus the Liberty, and again, the Sun's got to start trying to break through, and Saturday, September 2nd, Seattle versus Las Vegas. Seattle, just lay down, just provide a decent effort, and then go ahead and take the loss so you can get that number 1 pick.
Okay? Oh, yeah, start selling tickets.
Finally, the Los Angeles Lakers, shout out to them, will unveil a statue of Kobe Bryant on February 8th. The team announced along with Vanessa Bryant last week. A statue for Kobe is well deserved. Bryant will become the 7th member of the Lakers organization to have a statue outside of Crypto.com Arena. That's what it's called now, Will. It's no longer the Staples Center. Joining Elgin Baylor, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Jerry West, and broadcaster Chick Hearn. There's also statues of Wayne Gretzky, Luc Robitaille, and Oscar De La Hoya.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I do remember.
And one more bonus final. Hey, LeBron James, his son, Bronny James, is expected to return to the court very soon. He was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect, which is a broad definition of any abnormality when he had his cardiac incident. And he is again deemed to return. Any final words before we close out the show with that, Will?
Oh, man, just very happy to see, Bronny James is back on the court. As somebody who has heart ailments myself, it's very uncertain in terms of actually like what you're going to be doing activities. So just, applaud to him, applaud to the doctors, giving them the confidence to go back out and play. And obviously, there's a lot of money going around with him playing. So they want to take all the they want to be careful of everything, And speaking of, heart ailments, my shout out goes to my Uncle Sam, who had some ailments, and he's kind of struggling right now, and he's fighting for his life, and I love him. And, it's very serious. So if you are out there, and Ronnie James, if you've got medicine, or any of you, if anybody listening, if you have medicine given by the doctor, take it. Take it. Don't say it's too late. Don't say you didn't eat. Don't say it's too late and I got home. And take your medicine, man. And that's the biggest thing I tell for y'all. And if Ronnie listens to the doctors, he'll live beyond basketball. He'll have a very, very fulfillment kind of life. And that's really what it's about, Coach. It's not even about basketball. It's about these young men, he has 50, 60 years left to go have some fun. So
yes, indeed.
That's all I'll leave him with.
All right. So fans, to close the show, merch alert, merch alert. Buy a shirt or 2 or 4. The CKA Save Project is selling both CKA and Odd Coaches podcast shirts. Super producer Kelly will put the address on the screen for those watching on YouTube, www.cksaveproject.itemorder.com. Go there, and a portion of the proceeds will go to buy and find the balance books for deserving and high school student athletes who may not get the necessary resources that they have, and we want to provide their resources. So on behalf of my captain for life, Will Cotton, and our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.cksaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@cksaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.cksaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.